quite interesting.
Yeah.
And I hope that one of these teams is actually going to give us quite a good show. So I'm going to go back into the camps as I'm just quickly rambling on. I'm just going to go through the red team, who is legendary. So we're just going to have a quick look at this red team at the moment. I'm just going to go through the traits and whatnot as well. So looking at Anchor now, I know this name rings a bell. A lot of these bells ring. They ring, Ellipsis. They ring loud. I'm just going to go through. Oh my god, I've lost it. Did I have it in the first place? I'm not too sure. So we're just going to go through his build quickly. He's running with a longbow and also the hammer, probably quite typical hammer longbow build. Sigil of Battle, a Sigil of Energy, and also on the hammer he's going to be running with Doom for that poison, and also with the Sigil of Intelligence for those 3 attacks. 100% critical chance. Rune of Strength as well with the Soldier's Amulet, so he's going for the more tanky version of this build with 00626 in traits, guys. We will be looking at those traits more as we actually get into the game. We're going to be moving over to the Mesmer, who is called Zask, is what I'm going to call him. He's running with the sword. He's running with a pistol, and he's going to be running with staff. So this is going to be something different we don't normally see in these games, which is quite nice as well. Running with the Sigil of Energy, also with the Sigil of Force. Sigil of Energy again on the greatsword with the Sigil of Force. So he's stacking the Force sigils there. Rune of Strength again as well, and also the Berserker's Amulet. Going to go for a 44006 in the trait spreads. Now, Ellipsis, you play Mesmer quite frequently. How does this build look to you? Does it look quite nice? Is it still something which probably is definitely the best to use for Mesmer at the moment? How do you feel?
Yeah, it's definitely a relatively nice looking build. The sword pistol stuff is a good weapon set to choose. Normally in this kind of a build would probably see the greatsword, but I'm curious to see how the staff stacks up in this kind of a build. But obviously the strength rune is very, very strong right now. When you've got a stack of might on you, you're going to be getting plus 7% damage. And in team fights, that Guardian's going to be stacking might all day long. So there's going to be a bunch of damage coming out there. And then the 6 points in illusion, getting illusionary persona, gives you a whole bunch of damage. So it looks like a pretty strong build, and I'm definitely curious to see how it goes in the game.
Yeah, should be interesting. I'm going to try and keep our eye on him as much as possible. So just moving over to Peaceman, who is indeed the Guardian for this team. He's actually running an interesting build. It looks like he's running with the hammer there. So we're going to be looking at him. He's going to be running a hammer with the Sigil of Energy, of course, Sigil of Renewal. So when he swaps to that weapon, he's going to be doing an AoE heal, which is pretty nice, actually. I've actually used that. It's actually quite a nice scaling heal. He's going to be using the mace, also the focus there, Sigil of Energy, and he's also going to be stacking, again, that Sigil of Renewal. Now, I'm not so sure about stacking the Renewal Sigils. Still not too sure about that. You can't stack, you know, the same sigil. Of course, it will happen after the 9 seconds. He will be able to get that cooldown back off, but I think it should be okay. Shouldn't be too bad. So running Rune of the Soldier still, and of course the Cleric's Amulet. So he's going to be running very typical build, exactly the same build as pretty much Boon Emperor was using, as you explained in the last game. He's going to be going for a 01661, exactly the same traits pretty much. Strength in numbers, altruistic healing, pure voice, resolute healer, sorry, and super area. And you know, it's pretty much the same build. Most Guardians are running this build, especially EU side. So I'm going to run over to the engineer, and I'm very, very happy to see Unixis. I don't know. Ixis. We're going to call him Ixis. I can't pronounce that. I'm rubbish. He's going to run through his build. He's going to be running with the pistol shield. Going to go for the Sigil of Doom, which is very, very, very popular. It does inflict poison, and the cooldown is quite low as well. Well, it's 9 seconds, sorry, not the cooldown. The actual amount of time on that poison is 6 seconds, which is pretty sweet. Sigil of Energy, running with the Rune of Balthazar, which is very, very, very popular with engineers at the moment. Pretty much every engineer is running it. It's that 6 piece is really, really good. So the plus 20% burning duration when you use a heal skill, nearby allies are burned for 3 seconds, and every time you use your healing skill is 20 seconds, which is pretty sweet. You know, he's going for the Rabbit Amulet as well, going for a 40640 trait spread. Now this is a very interesting, we'll go through this as we go through. There is another engineer, so there are some very interesting traits there. Very tanky build, but then also opting for quite a lot of damage, especially with those bombs as well. So getting those crits is going to be doing a lot of burning, which is what you want to do in conjunction with the Balthazar runes. You want to be doing as much burning as possible. So going to go over to I Love Condi. So engineers, I feel, are kind of out of the meta at the moment, but I don't think they are because teams aren't bringing them in. But at the same time, I think they should be in. I'm not sure how you feel about that, Ellipsis.
Well, I mean, they definitely got some strong changes in the April 15th patch. The turret builds are coming back in a pretty big way, I'd like to think. I mean, they're very, very strong right now, more in a 1v1 situation. But yeah, for whatever reason, teams just aren't bringing them, opting to bring usually an Ellie now.
Yeah, that's true, exactly. The Ellie's kind of replaced the Ranger and the NG in most cases, really. Just for that sheer kind of bunker ability and able to still kind of pull off enough damage to, you know, be worth it as well. But he's running with the same runes. I mean, he's got Balthazar, he's got Doom, he's got Geomancy, sorry. So he's not running exactly the same. And he's got for a 6-2, 4-2 build, so he's going to be the roamer out of the two NGs. So I Love Condi is the roamer NG, and the other NG is actually more of a bunker because he's actually got the bombs as well. But I Love Condi's got bombs and grenades, and he's got toolkit as well, which is going to be good for the survivability, of course, and making sure that he can always be in the kit. So he's got loads of kits, so he's going to be using that invigorating speed a hell of a lot to move around the map with Backpack Regenerator, which means he's going to be permanently healing himself, going for forceful explosives, of course, to make his bombs go off even bigger radius, and he's going to also be going for a grenadier and also for the hair trigger, which reduces recharge on rifle, pistol and harpoon gun skills. Not much harpoon gunning going on in this map, unless there's some new thing I don't know about. That would be interesting. Someone just randomly goes on. Oh, there is a small bit of water here.
There is a small bit of water. It does look like we've got 5 players on each team, though.
Yes.
So
yes.
it looks like we might actually be able to get some game time today.
Yahoo!
Yes.
Ready up when ready, sirs and madams. Oh, I'm excited. Right, ESL Weekly Cup number 30. Ellipsis is going to be doing the splits for us on this first game because you weren't going to do them in the last game, but this is technically the second game, so you know, I think that's fine now. As long as you're alright. As long as you're alright doing that. Is that fine?
That's perfectly fine.
He's perfectly okay. Please kick some butt, people. Is our Weekly Cup number 30. Ellipsis is giving us the splits.
Yes, let's see, we got the game getting underway here on Forest of Niflhel in just a couple of seconds. So opening the map now, having a look at the splits, it looks like we're going to be seeing crossing from both sides. We've got 2 members of the blue team crossing and then 4 members of the red team crossing, so it's going to be opting to go for a very offensive split in terms of Team Legendary. And then it looks like we've also seen 1 member of each team going over to cap their home point, but it looks like they're both going to stay contested for the time being. And they're going to be relatively even fights. However, on the red team's home point, we are going to be seeing an outnumbered fight, a 2v1 in favor of Team Legendary. So let's just see what happens over there.
Yeah, Nixus is he's going to be fine, you know. I mean, I really think that Art just needs to pull out of this fight. He's already down on the point as well, so he needs to be downed, either that or needs to be CC'd away so that he can be kept off point to actually cap. And they've actually got the 5 points, and they're going to get that mine cap. So just looking over at Henge at the moment as well. Going to look at Peaceman just very, very quickly. He's got quite a lot of his cooldowns left. He is there alone, so he's going to need some help from his red team. Sorry, we're here with I Love Condi, who's just ranging, doing a good job just to range there, just off point. Just going to jump into I Love Condi's perspective here. He doesn't really need to be on the point too much, but of course he does have bombs which he can plant down. But he's throwing grenades on the point at the moment, which I feel he really needs to do outside the point. The Mesmer's coming in as well now. I do believe that Zasco is coming in just to get as much damage as he can AoE wise onto the point, and just coming into the pistol sword there, then switching back into the staff at the moment.
Yeah, exactly, but continuing to look over this fight, I think it's worth noting it's a really, really smart split by Team Legendary, because they did manage to get their home point, although that's neutralized at this point in time. But they managed to keep the other 2 nodes neutralized for long enough to pull away with a lead. They've got about a 30-point lead at this point in time, and it looks like they're actually maybe even able to win this fight over on Henge. So like I said, it's a very, very strong split on their behalf, with the midpoint being capped in favor of their team now as well.
Yeah, I was just watching Zax there. He just almost got into a bit of trouble. He might get bursts down now, actually. Not too sure by the Warrior on the blue team. He was just almost had him there, but I think he just got out of his... He's actually going to go down quite low now. I think he just got down the time warp just in time, just because he knew he was going to go down, so that people were going to be able to res him quite quickly, and he was able to get res. Now, that was a quite good idea for him to do that, but now he needs to try and get out of the point, potentially, and get some heals up. But the Guardian on the blue team, Cranox, is currently down on point. I don't know if they're going to be able to get the down on him. I think they're just using him as bait. But look, we're going to see Anchor go for that down, and that's a considerable down on that team at the moment. So Monk de Honk, he is actually seems to be the Guardian bunker on this team, very low as well. Both those guys down, they will lose this henge point. Not really going out to the rest of the map here at the moment, dude. Unfortunately, it's a big 2-cap from Red as they come into the 90 points against 8 for Blue at the moment.
Exactly, and while it is a 2-cap, which is big enough in itself, the fact that we haven't actually seen a cap coming out from Team Aos Army at all in this game is very, very big. I mean, we've seen those initial splits working their magic. We saw this henge point have a big team fight on it right from the start. And now that's just basically where it's all happening. However, on the midpoint, we can see Cranox going for that free cap. He's got the D cap. Now we see Anchor going up there to put a little bit of congestion on it, making sure that they don't get that free cap as all the nodes are neutral, although mine is going to be going in favor of Team Legendary in just a couple of seconds here.
Yeah, I've seen Dante at the moment over on the henge point, just trying to tank it as much as he possibly can with the other bunker Guardian at the moment. They're doing a really, really good job, but they need to try and get out of the map and try and actually help Cranox. Now, he is actually the more DPS Guardian of the two, of course, running with that greatsword. Just going to have a look at his build as he's 1v1ing Anchor at the moment. So we do see he's running the greatsword with the scepter and also the focus as well to get that block off with the rune of the Traveler, and also going with the Berserker's Amulet, going for the Sigil of Fire on the greatsword with Sigil of Air, also Sigil of Fire, and then Sigil of Leeching on the focus there, going for a trait spread of 2-1-6-1-4. So that's going to be a nice little trait spread for him. We can also see that he is actually going down quite low. He's versus 2 at the moment, so the communication from Blue is very, very low. We do see the other Guardian, slowly moving his way to mid, but it's way too late. Cranox is down. He's dead. He's out of it. They haven't scored any points in the last 5 minutes. They've scored 8 points, and that feels like a bit of luck, to be honest. We do see the engineer over at mine. He is currently on point, but then again, you know, Ix is on the point. He's there to stop it. So Red are doing very well at getting around the map at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Normally in a game I'd suggest that maybe going for a 3-point pressure as Team Legendary has now is not such a good idea, but because they got off to such an offensive start and they did get that initial lead, it's not a terrible idea for them at this point in time. However, with the mine point just going in favor of Aos Army at this point in time, we probably do want to see a couple of members of Red Team pull off that fight, which I actually just won, so never mind. But they are going to be able to go ahead and reinforce this mid fight, which is currently looking like a 2v2 happening right there.
Yeah, I'm trying to find someone that's got some cooldowns. It's so funny, just running around trying to find. So I'm looking at towards the mine part. I'm just looking at Art Tatum. Now he's trying to move over towards that point, but he doesn't know that there's currently, you know, there's one guy currently over at henge and someone's just moved off point. So he's going to be able to get back just in case he's going to have any issues there. So we might watch that 1v1 in a minute. This mid fight at the moment is going down. Cranox quite low on health. He's going to be trying to get Peaceman down, but unfortunately he's just getting that health back as well, and no one's really focused on DPS. Although Cranox just jumped on Kazma, on Zax, sorry, and he's indeed down and out of the fight. And Blue, 3 versus 1 at the moment. They need to push out at this point and get around the map, and I do believe that the Guardian has indeed started to push out towards the mine point.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like this mid node is definitely going to be going in favor of the blue team in just a couple of seconds here. So we're going to have to see what happens there. And it looks like there are a couple of 1v1s or small skirmishes happening across the map, with a henge point just going in favor of the blue team in just a couple of seconds here, as we see I Love Connie getting spiked. And then the big fight right now is happening over on the mine point, with Ixis just kind of sitting on that point, holding it for as long as possible, and then with Zax coming in as well, and then getting burst straight away. So this is also probably going to be going in favor of the blue team in a couple of seconds, depending on how quickly they can get Ixis down in the down state. So it's looking like the blue team's really turning this one back. After those initial splits sort of fell apart, they were managed to get a couple of caps going. So they are running with a 2 cap right now. And if they can just hold this for as long as possible, they are going to be able to come back into this game relatively quickly.
Yeah, I'm just seeing a couple. I think you're right. I mean, the 2 cap is really strong at the moment. They've still got that 2 cap going down, and over at Henge, although Red have decapped that at the moment, there seems to be a nice little split coming out from Blue at the moment. Although I thought Dante was going to go to the mid, but he's just bailed off, and the Warrior from Blue is just coming over. Zeon is coming over towards the Henge to try and get Art Tatum. So a little again, just slightly late in that kind of rotation around the map, and they need to be really, really careful and aware that they are down a player, and they've also left mid completely open, so they need to be extremely careful with how they're going to move on from here. The 2 bosses are still up. Only 1 cap to Blue, 197 to Red, 111 to Blue. Not sure how this game's going to go at the moment, actually, dude. I don't know how you feel. How is the rest of this game going to go? Even though we're 7 minutes left, we do see I Love Condi's gone down at Henge, so that could be going back into the. Just as I say that, he gets up, of course. Absolutely typical.
Yeah, it's interesting. We did see a really good initial lead coming up from Team Legendary, but now we're seeing a bunch of fights going in favor of Aos Army. So really, I think that Aos Army's got the stronger team composition here in terms of team fights, which is why why after those initial splits and Aos Army sort of got it together, they've started to come back into this one. However, we do have all 3 points being neutral. Which suggests that it's obviously still a very close game, but we are going to be seeing the Henge point going in favor of Team Aos Army in just a couple of seconds here, and now we're going to be seeing Zeon has WAG going up and supporting that mid fight, which looks like it's probably going in favor of Team Legendary at this point in time.
At the moment, yeah, it does look like that's indeed the way. I mean, the engineer from Enixis came onto the point. He did put down the big old bomb, and he was able to get Kranox out off point as well, which is very good. To keep that decap, even keep the cap coming on, and now Ixis is trying to get back onto the point as soon as he possibly can to try and get into the range of Peace Man's heal there, as he did pull off in power. So Zeon's actually doing a pretty good job as well on this midpoint at the moment. I'm just going to go into his point of view. He's got no cooldowns left. He needs some help as soon as possibly can. It's very much 3-on-2 fight, even 4-on-2 I think at the moment. As the engineer is currently fighting against Art Tatum versus I Love Condi. 1v1 over here at the moment. Blue, look at Blue coming back. 40 points or so away. They're really coming back now, and I Love Condi just off point as well. There is no reason for Art to take him down other than to make sure that he definitely is out of this fight. He really could have left him to bleed there if the communication was up. I'm not sure if that was a mistake or if just, you know, a little bit of a lack of communication, but there I possibly myself would have probably left him down off point. But at the moment we see a blue 2 cap coming from the blue team, man.
Yeah, exactly, and we also see a couple of really tanky and survivable members of the blue team sitting on this mid nodes. For example, Dante here, who is going to be the Elementalist, is running with the staff, which is obviously very survivable. So what they're going to be doing here is just sitting on this node, keeping as many members of Team Legendary busy as they can, and that's going to mean that they're going to be able to keep this 2 cap while keeping the outnumbered fight happening, which is obviously a very smart tactic by them, keeping both of those outside nodes with someone on them, just in case the red team decides to pull off and make a push over to one of those nodes. It's definitely a very smart push, and now we've seen the scores actually flip over 210 to 231 in favor of Team Aos Army, which is going to be very good for them, and they're going to just be able to hold now for the rest of this game, and they're going to be very good with their survivable team composition. That
comeback, dude. That comeback. Awesome. They don't need to push mid. They're just putting on a little tiny bit of pressure, but I do believe that Art Tatum is having a bit of trouble over here, and also Kranox as well going down just off point. But look, he's knocked him back, and they haven't gone for the down straight away. Because if they do, then Monk is literally, that is a good idea. Oh, he did just go for that. He could have left them off point, because Monk could have just gone for the heal, just gone for the res off point, which would have been a good way to sucker him in to get that decap done quicker. He has gone down, but you know, they've still had the cap, even though those guys have been dead for a good old while. He's down on point. Anchor's there as well to make sure no one else is going to be able to come in, and he's going to be 3-on-1 versus situation over at the mine at the moment. So Blue need to start bringing people into this point as soon as possible. Either that or anti-push towards the mid, which is what they're going to do at the moment. You can see Ixis is going to just on the midpoint with Art Tatum just coming into the point as well. Just wondering where Kranix is going. Looks like Kranix is going to go and support Mind Point to get that, keep that point bunkered. Blue winning by about 40 to 50 points right now.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen a really, really good support push coming in from the blue team over here. We've seen all 4 members who are currently available coming over to this mine point, keeping it capped for them for as long as they can. And it's definitely working for them right now, although we do have a couple of members from the blue team down. Although we did just see I Love Connie getting spiked, allowing one of the members of the blue team to get back up out of the down state and keep this point capped for as long as possible. What they did on the mid fight was also very smart. Arctatum was relatively comfortable in his ability to take out Yixis in the 1v1 fight, which is actually giving them that mid cap as well, which is very, very good for them. And then it also looks like they're going to be winning this this mine fight really shortly, actually, which would possibly even give them the 3 cap and then allow them to just take this lead away really, really, really quickly.
Blimey, they're really coming in here. Like, really, like, I cannot believe how much they've come back into this game. What has happened? They've literally completely switched it around to a 3 cap, no less. I mean, that's just epic. How awesome has this big comeback really been? I mean, for these guys to do that, and the engineers are doing so well at the moment. Not sure the chieftain is the right boss to go for, but red team are completely aware that they can probably do this, as they've got most of the blue team over at mine at the moment. The only guy who's on points at the moment. Mid, they're worried about leaving that cap at the moment as well. Henge is busy on the 1v1. So he's fully free to go for the boss. He's done so. So those stats might be able to push them ahead in terms of these team fights. So Kranok's just down on point. He's going to die over on the mine point at the moment. So 2 caps being completely decapped. Mid is still blues, but blue have started to run away, as you can see. Art Tatum just in the southeast, the west side of the keep is just monitoring, not sure what's going on. Just going to move over to Henge now. They do have that cap. So how are Red going to come back into this match with Ellipsis?
Well, I definitely don't think this match is over. We did see that 2v1 coming out against Xeon Haswag, and they definitely managed to get that point capped relatively comfortably. And with a couple of spikes coming off the mine point, and the mine point also being Legendary's home point, we can definitely see them come back with this cap, although they do need to get some support happening over here. So it can still be, there can still be a comeback in favor of Legendary. However, they're going to have to do something really, really quickly. They're going to need to support this outside node, and then also put pressure on the mid node, and try and keep that neutralized, because they do need a 2 cap and they need one really, really quickly if they want to stay in this. And it looks like Dante actually is going to have enough damage to maybe even 1v1 Peaceman. We're going to have to see what happens, especially in a 1v1. This Shouts build isn't quite as strong as it is in teamfights because you don't get as much healing.
Yeah, he's in the wrong place in my opinion at the moment. He needs to be mid, and he's the one who needs to be mid the most. Someone needs to rotate out. Look at Kranox. Kranox just taken down there hard. Zach's just going for the actual... Oh, he got up. He actually got res. I wasn't sure what happened there. And we've actually run out of time, dude. We've just run out of the game.
I didn't even realize that clock. It was just such a good game. But that means it's going to be GG to Aos Army, taking the first game out at about a 70-point lead, which is relatively comfortable considering the start that they got off to.
Holy moly, man. That was good. Good fun. Good fun. Just going to go back to the cams now. Woo!
Yeah, that was good. Definitely very, very good first game.
I'm still just confused about how the hell they came back so well. I mean, it was such a good comeback. I mean, they were down what, 150 points at some point. I mean,
yeah, they were down about 190 points actually, which is interesting because it does give us an idea of how their team compositions fare up against each other when it comes down to, you know, your rotations and fighting rather than you know, just that initial split. So I think we're going to need to see Team Legendary come out of this game and do something a little bit different, possibly opting to support a 2-node pressure rather than trying to pressure all 3 nodes for the entirety of the game. I don't know how you feel about that though.
I could feel fairly emotional, dude. I'm not too sure about them at the moment. I do apologise if I'm sometimes a bit louder than Ellipsis. I have a tendency to shout and get quite excited. So sometimes I might end up screaming into the mic, which might be the reason why I might be a tiny bit louder sometimes. But Yeah, I've just had an exciting day, you know. And that match was exciting. And I believe, I'm not sure, this is going to be a different map because they've got. See, we've got Mesmer power over on red team. I mean, Legendary, hopefully he's going to use Portal. He is using Portal. So Zask, he's going to be using Portal. He's not going to change any of its traits. So that's going to be very, very beneficial. It's nice to see him using the sword and pistol combo as well. I think the one problem that Red had in the beginning, well, not in the beginning, towards the end of that game especially, was the fact that they just didn't move their Guardian around to the best spots. He was stuck with that staff Ellie over at flipping mine half the time. So, you know, he needed to be in those team fights. Like, I think you even said it as well. I'm just going to jump back into the cam, sorry. I'm just going to change something on my UI. But how do you think these teams? How do you think Red can come back? Not Red can come back. Sorry, yeah, Red can come back into this game. As I'm looking at my UI, just trying to sort something out very, very, very quickly.
No worries. I think you made a really, really good point about Zask using the portal. The portal, if for anyone who doesn't know, basically you can put down an entrance portal, and then you can run around and do whatever, and you can put down an exit portal. And then you can just transfer between them for about 5 or 6 seconds, I think. It's 10 seconds. So basically, you can transport your entire team from one side of the map to the other if you really need to do so. On the biggest map here, Legacy of the Fofire, we can definitely see that happening. So we're going to need to see some portal plays happening in favor of Team Legendary, and they need to sort of think about their positioning and where they're going to be keeping their characters or their players at this point in time. Like you said, Peaceman was probably in the wrong position on that last map, rather going for the 1v1 instead of sitting in that team fight. So I think it really comes down to where their players are and why they're sort of there. But other than that, the teams are definitely well matched together. And I'm definitely interested to see how this match plays out.
Yeah, I'm loving this little matchup between these guys at the moment. So I am going to just quickly let them know. We're going to jump back into the actual game itself. I'm going to let these guys know that they can ready up. Ready up when ready. That makes sense completely to me. So we're going to be going back into this game now. I just switched the UI because I just noticed that you can see the elite skill there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we're going to go here. I mean, we got all 5 guys on each team are in the map at the moment. I would like to see a little bit of a better rotation from Red Team. They seem to have it nailed at the beginning of that last game. But just waiting for them to ready up now. I'm not sure exactly what the delay is. Everyone seems to kind of be here. I might just quickly run over these builds very, very, very quickly. Looking over the... I think we went through blue team, I do believe. I think
no, we went through red team. Go. We haven't. No, we haven't been through Aos Charmy yet.
We looked over just random specs, didn't we, just during the game? Okay, we'll have a quick look at. Typical. Actually, gonna
possibly in the next game.
Hopefully, we'll go to a third one. We'll go to Battle of Carlo. Yes. How about that? We can't promise, but you know. So Ellipsis, you're going to be going out for the splits with us for this game. As we're coming in.
I'll go ahead and do that. So obviously, Legacy of the Fofire, we're going to be getting these 3 big nodes. So having a look at the splits here, we're just going to be seeing on the blue team side. Sorry, we're going to be seeing 3 people coming out of their front gate, and then 2 people going out of their side gate, going over to the home point, getting a little bit of support over there. And then on the red team side, we're going to be seeing a 2-1-2 split, which is going to be the same as on the blue team as well. So we're going to be seeing 2 even fights right now. I definitely want to see how these team fights play out, because it's going to show us which team composition is really strong in terms of fights, which can actually determine the outcome of the match. So I think that let's just jump over on the waterfall point, because we did see one of the members of Legendary already in the down state over on the quarry. So let's see what's happening over at the waterfall.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I just noticed actually Red Team really losing that fight as well over at the quarry. So I'm just going to jumping over to the waterfall now. I was there when you actually mentioned it. Dante is actually still quite... he's actually doing completely fine at the moment. Ixis, he's going to be fine now, because he actually just got his heal off there, getting the heal turret off. So just going to jump into his perspective at the moment. He's always going to have he's going to have so many cooldowns useful. This is what's good about like a free kit build. You know, you've got so much utility, especially coming out of the toolkit, of course, and then he's got the knockback with the flamethrower as well. So he's going to be wanting to get down his heal turret as soon as possible, blasting that in, producing another blast as well to actually get a lot of healing off off on the point. So he's going to be lasting a hell of a long time. They need to get someone in here to burst down as soon as possible. Mid is probably going to be more likely the place where Red really need to kind of hit next. Just keeping them bunkered down at Waterfall is actually quite a good idea for Red at the moment.
It is a bit of a good idea. However, we are going to need to see something happening in favor. We're going to need to see something happening pretty quickly, because it looks like we did just see a spike coming off from the blue team over on this mid fight. So it looks like the blue team's actually winning this as well, possibly even giving them the 2-cap. So we need to think about this. This is the same thing that I think really hurt Legendary on the last map, is putting pressure on 3 nodes rather than 2 when they really shouldn't have done that, and that's why they're losing their fights right now. They don't have the manpower where they really need it, with Zask going down into the downstate as well on this mid fight and being the majority of the damage that we've seen over there.
Now I think that quickness really came out for Art Tatum there. He did so good with the knockback. He took that shatter right in the face as well, and then he just, you know, he did quite a lot of damage to Zask as well, and then just put him down, did a knockback, got the quickness off, and was able to down him quickly without even Zask even be able to think about pulling away, which probably, you know, he just wanted to die so he could get back into the mid fight as soon as possible. And Anchor's going to be okay here for a little bit of time on 50% HP versus 2 members of the blue team. So mid point is going to be fairly bunkered unless we can get some... Oh, it seems we do have quite a few people coming into the point now. We do see Peaceman, the bunkie guardian of the red team, I Love Condi, on the south side of the midpoint at the moment. So the 2 bunkers going to be very much just standing off in the middle of that point to try and keep it contested. Looks like Quarry is really the only point which is going to be completely flipped at the moment.
Yeah, however, it is worth noting we did just see a portal go down on the mid fight and then Zask go over and support that waterfall. They really want to finish this really quickly. However, we do see Kranix from what is it, Aos Charmy coming in to support that fight. So it's going to be a 2v2 right now. However, with the DPS that we're going to be seeing coming off from Zask, and now Peaceman coming in from that mid fight as well, it's probably going to be going in favor of the red team. But it's, you know, we've got to see what happens over there, as we do see Monk coming in there as well. So it's going to be a big team fight happening on the waterfall, which we've seen remain contested for the entire match.
Yeah, things I'm worried about that I'm not really seeing. I'm not really sure if the Monk de Monk on the blue team had any kind of stability or a block up when he did do that Empower just now, because he just got free Empower off, I think, and he, you know, it's kind of obvious that he's doing that. You know, he stands there, he's got 2 hands on his stuff, and he's, you know, he's casting Empower, he's giving might to the rest of his team, he's healing them. And really need to try and work on those interrupts. Watch for those animation, guys, especially if you're new to GW2 SPVP. Watching for those animations is an extremely important thing to try and, you know, counter whatever the opposite team are trying to do. And, you know, Blue are doing an extremely good job at pulling people into this point. But at the moment, they need to be thinking about the rest of the point, the map, sorry.
Yeah, they do need to be thinking about the rest of the map, especially we did just see Arctatum getting spiked over on the quarry node, which allowed the red team to go ahead and get that free cap. It looks like we're going to be seeing another 1v1 happening over there. Those 2 engineers really love duking it out today. We've seen a bunch of 1v1s happening by them. And then we also did just see Xeon has Wag coming in, getting that free cap over on the graveyard point. So it's a 1-to-1 cap right now. However, we do see the red team with a slight lead. It's only about 5 or 6 points, but it's definitely going to be enough to keep them happy for the time being, and we're going to need to see them putting a lot of pressure over on this waterfall node, because they definitely want to be capping this point, it looks like. So we've got to see what happens over on this fight, and then you know, see where the rest of the game goes from here.
The moment I just looked at the clock, dude, and thank God it's 9 minutes and 35 seconds right this second, and we've still not reached 100 points. So we're gonna indeed hit to roughly, I reckon, 250 points tops, unless we can get another cap going on this map free for these teams. Get the 3rd cap going down and get some more kills, because these 2 comps are really tanky. I mean, especially with so many engineers. An engineer on the blue team, 2 NGs on the red team. The only DPS really coming from Zask, and also coming from, on the opposite team is Kranix, the actual Guardian as well. So there's only really 2 DPS players in this game at the moment. Like full DPS.
Yeah, there are. There are. But DPS isn't really what's going to win this game then. What's going to win this game is going to be, well, nothing.
It's just going to be nothing.
Nothing's going to win the game. Something's going to win the game.
Obviously, but like there's a Lord kill, you know, that's what's going to win the game. Time Warp over at Waterfall.
Exactly.
And that's the game.
What I was just going to suggest here, is that because these teams are so well matched and we're seeing really low scoring games, if we do see it at a point where the clock's about to run down, we're probably going to see one of these Lords being rushed. And for anyone who doesn't know, the Lord is just an NPC character who, if your team kills, gets you 150 points immediately for your team, which is obviously going to be a game changer. So I think that if we get to a point where the clocks get really, really low, we're possibly going to see those Lords get rushed, and sort of see if we can get those extra 150 points for either of these teams. Especially because we've just been seeing those the outside node and then the middle node being capped for so long right now. It looks like it's just really stalemated at this point in time.
Oh, that we do see the Ellie coming in now, and he's actually going to be able to come into the point. I think I've just assumed that he's running that Dagger Celestial build. I'm just going to drop in and just check. Oh god, yes. Oh no, he's running the staff. He's running the staff. So he wasn't using that Dagger build in this one. I believe he was using the staff. Yeah, that's right. He was 1v1ing the Guardian on mine on the last game as well. So he is using Celestial, but he's using the Rune of the Pirate. If it is for that that with the bird as well, they kind of nerfed that. I'm not sure if he's completely aware, but there's probably other reasons why he's using that. So very much a similar build to the Dagger using the staff. It's very, very effective. I do feel like it's a bit more effective with the Dagger build, but we'll see. He's doing a lot of support on the point. He's able to buff, put a lot of combo fields down as well, but he's doing fine on this point at the moment, but he's just not going anywhere.
No, it's not going anywhere. Something that is going somewhere though, segue, is the quarry node right now. We can see a 1v1 happening, Anchor versus Arctatum, and it looks like Arctatum is actually going to be having the advantage right now, just being able to kite and put those turrets down, which just adds a couple of extra targets that he needs to worry about. However, we do see I Love Condi coming into this point as well. So while we do have this point neutralized and we see the waterfall being neutralized as well, we do see an open graveyard, which is still in favor of Team Aos Army, which has actually allowed them to go from about 5 or 10 points down to about 15 points up, which is going to be a game changer for them. They do need to make sure that they keep that point capped, but they also want to make sure that they're keeping these outside nodes contested to sort of cement this lead just a little bit more. We do only have 6 minutes left in the game, so if we are going to see a timeout, we're definitely going to need to see these teams wanting to keep the only cap in the game, as that's definitely going to mean something big for them. However, the waterfall node looks like it's possibly going to be going in favor of the blue team as well. We do see Peaceman, the only player on this team, with a 2v1 happening, and Peaceman's going to be going into the downstate here in just a second. Maybe he got that Empower off just in time.
Those dodges as well, man. Did you see how much those
definitely.
those heals did? And look at that! He's lossing them, using that Empower as well to get back onto the point. He's gonna, when he starts to get a bit more support, he'll put that Swiftness down as well to put that altruistic healing to get some more healing onto himself, which is going to be really good. Needs someone to run over that if he possibly can. So he's got the support. Look how well he did, dude. That was so good. Being patient, aware completely of how many caps there were left on the point, so they can actually go out of line of sight, lose a couple of ticks, keep his health up, and keep that point contested, keeping them still in this fight over here. He's doing such a good job. Really good little Guardian there. But at this point, he's going to stay muted He's going to stay muted for the rest of the game. We've got 4 minutes left. Red are going to have to go for a Lord kill or get a significant wipe to actually do anything else here.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing that we can do is, because the game is sort of a little bit close right now, if we do see a couple of spikes coming off in favor of the red team, we could see them come back a little bit, which could also allow them to get a little bit more of a cap. And if this point is so close to being capped for the blue team, it's really interesting to see what's going to happen here, but the red team needs to start thinking about what's happening. They need to be watching that clock, making sure that there is something that they can do.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about the clock. We've proved that ourselves by Neither by both of us completely missing the point of the game, the fact that the game's almost over. But you know what, Blue just almost capped the point there, just pushing them off point, just forcing them back to get that res. So that's a nice little target, tactic as well, trying to push them off point, getting all the players to go off point as well to try and res up so they can get a couple of ticks. There's only about 2 or 3 ticks left on that waterfall to actually get it capped, but they're going to be focusing here for a long time, and they've only got 3 minutes and 50 seconds to start moving towards the actual Lord. They've still got to get the gate down as well, so they need to be thinking about this. They can't forget the time.
No, they definitely can't forget the time. That's going to be something very, very big. And we are seeing a couple of players going down from the blue team, or just one player going down from the blue team. So it's going to be remaining just completely neutral for the rest of this game right now. I think we're probably going to be seeing this go in favor of Aos Army, though, this match, I should say.
Mid at the moment, Kranix is just going down. They're slowly taking the blue team down, but I don't think... Oh, God, Art Tatum's down. He's going to be around this point for a good old while.
We've got Arc Tatum here, and now Monk2Hunk, who is going to be the main bunker for Team Aos Army, coming down onto this point as well. So it could go either way, and we do see all three members. We do see all 3 members of the red team being incredibly low right now. So that we could see anything happening. No, but we did see Arc Tatum getting killed right there. So we are going to see Monk2Hunk going into the downside in just a couple of seconds here. If we can get a couple of nice shatters off from Zask happening, but we do see Kranix coming back. So this is going to be staying in favor of their team for the time being. This is a really close game.
This is painful, man.
Really
and the reason they're coming back is because they're getting those kills. You know, we've got 2 minutes 30 seconds left. We've got 30 points roughly, just under, in this game. There's nothing really in it. 27 points. That's 6 kills. They can come back, and Monk2Honk's just gone down. Monk2Honk is down. He's going to be out of this fight unless Kranix cannot go for that res because he's just too squishy. Kranix is next on the list, really. He's going to be completely screwed. He's going to get hopefully he's going to get some shatters on it. Oh, I don't know. Looks like the Mesmer wasn't going to go for that. He's got his pistol. He's going to put that Phantasm out. He's probably going to take him out, hopefully. But over at the waterfall, we're just going to go and check that fight. I haven't been there for a good old while. Peacemaker indeed. So Red have lost the cap.
That's going to be a very big thing for them. It's coming back up to about a 30-point lead now, and we are seeing Kranix going into the downside, but down Dante coming back in, getting that res. It looks like there we go. It looks like we've got a 2-cap now. Is that what's happening right now? We've seen a 2-cap coming up in favor. Yes, we do. It just hasn't updated on the map right now. We're seeing 2 points per tick up on that map. So we are probably going to be seeing, with 1 minute 30 left, we are probably going to be seeing this fight going in favor of Aos Army as well. It was a very, very close game at about 50 points.
They can do it still. They can go for the ball. But they're all dead. They can
go for the boss. I'd like to see, we are going to be seeing Anchor having a look at that gate right now. They know that if they rush the Lord right now, they are going to be able to get it. But I want to see if they've got enough damage to actually DPS that Lord down. We were discussing earlier, they've both got very, very tanky team comps. It's an 80-point lead right now. This is going to be very, very dangerous. It's all coming down to that Lord rush right now.
They've started to go for it. I think the warrior on the red team looks like he's going to try and give it a bash, but unfortunately for him, Zeon is coming in as well. The rest of the red team need to start moving. They need to say, screw the rest of the points. It don't matter. We've got 40, 50 seconds left. We've got 100 points, you know. If we don't get this boss kill now, Blue are just going to win the match anyway because they're going to be 150 points ahead. Oh, actually, so they do need to keep that point contested in order to even win it. There you go. So they've got the kind of cushion a little tiny bit now of Waterfall trying to get some caps in. But look at Anchor. Anchor is really, he really wants to get in there. He wants to try and win this game. 25 seconds on the map. Red are just going to start streaming in here. There's not enough of them around to actually get that kill on the Red Lord, Blue Lord, sorry. There's not enough DPS that's going to come into this fight, unfortunately. The Blue Lord is still at 100%, trying to get that. You can see how much percent life he's got. If Red had come into this fight a little bit earlier, maybe, they would have been able to do something.
Yeah, we've got 5 seconds left, 4 seconds left on the clock, so it's going to be GG in favor of Aos Army. It looks like they got that pretty low. They did a good job there. They could have got that if they got in just a couple of seconds early. That's going to be congratulations to Aos Army. That's going to be the second game they've won, right? So that's going to be moving them up into the finals.
Indeed, my friend. Indeed. Really, really. I mean, to be honest, they really did so well. They just came back in the first, like, oh god, this is going to be a face roll. I literally thought that is going to be a face roll game in first game, and it wasn't. It wasn't completely. You know, they completely came back and just ruined. Well, they just, you know, did awesome.
They did a really good job. Really good job there.
So bloody impressive. So impressive. So what we're going to do is Ellipsis
so go ahead,
quickly talk. Sorry.
I was just going to say, we did get off to a bit of a bumpy start there with missing out on their first game, but I think our second game made up for it. We had a couple of good matchups.
Oh, God. It's the first game. This is the first game. We've only been going for about 50 minutes here, but we had two really, you know, I mean, they could have gone either way, both games, on any day. You know, I think maybe, you know, Red could have won it as well. So congratulations to those guys. We're going to join you very soon, guys. We're just going to have a quick break, give you a little bit of time to grab a coffee, go for a toilet break.